أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه هو السميع البصير. وآتينا موسى الكتاب وجعلناه هدى لبني إسرائيل ألا تتخذوا من دوني وكيلا. ذرية من حملنا مع نوح إنه كان عبدا شكورا. وقضينا إلى بني إسرائيل في الكتاب لتفسدن في الأرض مرتين ولتعلن علوا كبيرا. فإذا جاء وعد أولاهما بعثنا عليكم عبادا لنا أولي بأس شديد الناس خلال الديار، وكان وعدا مفعولا. ثم رددنا لكم الكرة عليهم وأمددناكم بأموال وبنين بأموال وبنين وجعلناكم أكثر نفيرا. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا رسول الله يا نبي الرحمة، وعلى آل بيتك المعصومين المظلومين. لعن الله الظالمين لكم سادتي من الأولين والآخرين. صلى الله عليك يا مولاي وابن مولاي يا أبا عبد الله الحسين، يا صريع الدمعة الساكبة وصاحب المصيبة الراتبة. غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء، سيدي ما خاب من تمسك بكم وأمن من لجأ إليكم. يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز فوزا عظيما. رحلوا وما رحلوا هيل ودادي إلا بحسن تصبري وفؤادي. ساروا ولكن خلفوني بعدهم حزنا أصب الدمع صوب عهادي، وسرت بقلب المستهام ركابهم تعلو به جبلا وتهبط وادي، وخلت منازلهم فها هي بعدهم قفرا وما فيها سوى الأوتاد. أبكي بها طورا لفقد صبابتي، وأصيح فيها تارة وأنادي يا دار أين مضى ذوك أمالهم يوم بعد الترحل عنك يوم معايا يا دي يا دار قد ذكرتني بعراصك القفراء يا عراص بني النبي يا لما سرى عنها ابن بنت محمد بالأهل والأصحاب والأولاد يا Fatima al-Alila, the daughter of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, speaks to her father, speaks about his absence from the house. When he left the Medina towards Karbala, she found that the house is empty. She started to look around. My father was sitting here. Ali al-Akbar was here. When they left me alone. She speaks about her father, how she misses him. Allahu Akbar. مذ كاتبوا بنو الشقاق قدم فليس سواك نعلم من إمام هادي. He left when he received the messages that come towards us, come to us. We are supporting you. You are the only Imam who is just. والله منهم بسامرة ومنهم في خراسان ومنهم برض طيبة ومنهم برض كوفان. وأعظم مصيبة مصيبة المذبوح عطشان لحسين. وين الذي يواسيني على حسين؟ All of my family were shattered. Imam Ali alayhi salam is buried in Najaf. Al-Imam al-Hussein is going to be buried in Karbala. لا تحسبوني القلب ذايب على ابن أمي وداوي تضعضع وانهدم صبري وداوي خويا لا مجروح حتى اقعد وداوي ولا غايب واقول يعود لي يا ولا غايب واقول يعود لي. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. We offer our condolences to the Imam of our time, صاحب العصر والزمان, for the arrival of the month of sorrow, the month of Muhrram, for the martyrdom of his grandfather Al-Imam Al-Hussein salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. Speaking about Muhrram, speaking about Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam and leaving Medina towards Al-Kufa, arriving into Karbala, where he meets his destiny, where he is going to be slaughtered and the women are going to be held captive. A question is always asked, or even if the answer is there, but the people don't really understand the value of that answer. When someone asks, what is the thing that's worthy of Imam Hussein alayhi salam being murdered, being slaughtered, and his women and his children are being held captive? Why? What is that cause? For what reason he left? And he knew that this is going to happen because he said beforehand, شاء الله أن يراني قتيلا وأن يراهن سبايا, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His will is to see me slaughtered and to see the women are held captive. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, when he left Medina, was for the reason to fix what was ruined, what was destroyed of the religion of his grandfather Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. إنما خرجت لطلب الإصلاح في أمة جدي رسول الله. And that's what he said. It means for the sake of the religion. Why? This religion, which is a precious gem that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to the people in order to give them happiness in this life and happiness in the day of judgment. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam wanted to fix it, wanted to make it perfect for the sake of the nation of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. When we understand this, and what indicates that we don't really understand the value of that purpose, is that we don't carry the teachings of Muhrram with us every month and every day. And most of the time it's limited in Muhrram and in 10 days. We see that people treat Shahr Muharram and the 10 days of Ashura as a tradition, that these are the 10 days where I stop listening to music. This is the 10 days where I stop chewing gum. These are the 10 days as a tradition I go and listen to a ma'tam. And outside of Muharram, we see everything goes back to normal. Muharram is not only about a majlis only that I attend just to show that I'm attending a majlis. Muharram is a month of lessons. And that's what we are going to discuss, inshallah. In these 10 days, we derive messages and lessons from each individual that we commemorate the martyrdom on every night, inshallah. We derive these lessons, we take them with us, and we will see that the happiness is going to come through these lessons. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. And whoever desires other than Islam as religion, never will it be accepted from him, and he in the hereafter will be among the losers. The religion of Islam is the religion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us. What is the importance of this religion? What is our role in protecting it? Why do we have to protect this religion? Why do we have to stand up for it? Why do we have to hold it with pride? And what is our role in protecting this religion? Me as an individual, what can I do? What is my role in this community in order to protect the religion? Before answering these questions, there is an important introduction that I want to do. Looking at the narrations and the verses of the Quran, we understand that the religion or the faith has two types. The first type is when the faith in the heart is fixed and firm, and nothing can change it. No misconception that pops up would change that faith and would make the person hesitate. This is called al-imanul mustaqar. And the second type is the borrowed faith, al-imanul mustawda'. This faith that's not fixed in the heart, that at some point it's going to vanish from the heart of this individual. Wal-'iyadhu billah. Allah says in the Quran, speaks about these two types. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَهُوَ الَّذِي أَنْشَأَكُم مِّن نَفْسٍ وَاحِدَةٍ فَمُسْتَقَرٌّ وَمُسْتَوْدَعٌ. And that He made you from one self, من نفس واحدة مستقر ومستودع, affirmed and borrowed. The verse doesn't show clearly these two types. That's where we need the Imam. Abu Basir, one of the companions of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, visits Imam Sadiq, asks him about this verse. What does it mean? Imam Sadiq asks him, what does the people of your region, of the area that you live in, say about this verse? He said that they say that Allah is speaking about the children, that they are firm and fixed in the loins of the father, and then they are borrowed for 9 months in the wombs of the mothers. مستقر في الأصلاب ومستودع في الأرحام. Imam Sadiq says كذبوا. They lied. They are lying. Imam Sadiq says so because those people who chose not to hold on to the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, chose to deny the Ghadir Khum and pledging allegiance to Amir al-Mu'mineen, and then they wanted to explain the Quran their own way. He said كذبوا. What does it mean? O Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he said فالمستقر هو من كان إيمانه ثابتا في قلبه. المستقر, what's firm, what's fixed, is the person when his faith is fixed in his heart. والمستودع, and what's borrowed, is the person who was given the faith and then it was taken away from him. And then he gives an example about a person. He says وكان الزبير منهم. الزبير was one of the companions of Rasulullah. He defended the Prophet. He fought with the Prophet. And till a point that he attended the funeral of Sayyidah Fatimah al-Zahra alayhi salam, he knew where Sayyidah Fatimah al-Zahra alayhi salam was buried. And then Amir al-Mu'mineen, after a while, said about him, he said, كَانَ الزُّبَيْرُ مِنَّا. Zubayr was from us. Imagine that this is the same expression that Ahlul Bayt, that the Prophet used about Salman al-Farisi. Salman minna Ahlul Bayt, he is from us. He said Zubayr was from us till his son Abdullah grew up. And then he fought Amir al-Mu'mineen. His iman was taken from him. The question that comes here, because we know in the dua, some du'as, we supplicate to Allah to grant us the firm faith in the heart. Some people would think that I have no role towards this. I can't change it. I can't control it. Whether the faith is firm in my heart or it's borrowed. So they do supplicate. In fact, we have a big role. One of the things that we can do is the dua that is mentioned in the Quran. رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا وَهَبْ لَنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْوَهَّابُ. Abu Asim visits Imam Sadiq alayhi salam and he tells him, O yabna Rasulillah, O the son of Rasulullah, your Shia say that you the Imams and the household and the offspring of Rasulullah, say that the faith is 2 types, firm and fixed, and the other type is borrowed. Teach me something that when I say, it would make my faith fixed in the heart. Then the Imam said, قُلْ فِي دُبُرِ كُلِّ صَلَاةٍ. After each prayers, you say, رَضِيتُ بِاللَّهِ رَبًّا وَبِمُحَمَّدٍ نَبِيًّا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وَبِالْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا. That I accepted Allah to be my Lord and the Prophet Muhammad to be my prophet and Islam to be my religion. وَبِالْقُرْآنِ كِتَابًا, and the Quran to be my book. وَبِالْكَعْبَةِ قِبْلَةً, and the Kaaba to be my qibla. وَبِعَلِيٍّ إِمَامًا وَوَلِيًّا, and that Ali ibn Abi Talib is my imam, my guidance. وَبِالْحَسَنِ وَالْحُسَيْنِ وَالْأَئِمَّةِ عَلَيْهِمُ السَّلَامِ اللهم إني قد رضيت بهم أئمة. And Hassan al-Hussein and the children of Imam Hussein, the 9 ma'sumin of the offspring of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, I accept them as my imams. فَرْضِنِي لَهُمْ وَلِيًّا, accept me as the follower, as the servant. إِنَّكَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. So you keep this vow protected between you and Allah. Remind yourselves with this, with the basic things. This kind of protection would make this faith firm in the heart. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, in another narration, he says, سَتُصِيبُكُمْ شُبْهَةً حَيْثُ تَبْقُونَ بِلَا عَلَمٌ يُرَى. A misconception would attack you. You would be seen without a flag, بلا علم يرى ولا إمام هدى, and there is no guidance for you, ولا إمام هدى ولا ينجو منكم. The only one who would survive is the person who says دعاء الغريق. When he was asked, what is this دعاء الغريق? He said, you say, يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلبي على دينك. This is the dua that when you say it, your faith would be fixed in the heart. What is the importance of the religion in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It is important to know the importance of this in the eyes of Allah. Since Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created me to worship Him, since logically I have to be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He created me, that He gave me everything that I have, my eyes, my ears, my limbs, my parents, my family, and my work, my children, everything that I have, every happiness that I went through, everything around me, the breath that I take, نعمتان مجهولتان الصحة والأمان, two graces that people are ignorant of, safety and health. All of these graces I have to be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in order to be able to be grateful, I have to know the importance of this in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so I can perform my duty towards it. In order to understand the importance of the religion in the eyes of Allah, there are two main points I speak about, two rulings according to jurisprudence. Through these two rulings, I will understand the importance of the religion in the eyes of Allah. After Salat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Now, you have a religion that includes everything about morals, everything about rulings that will organize your life. This system is important to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is important that you protect it and that you support it and stand up to it. So the first thing that would indicate the importance of the religion in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says through Ahlul Bayt that التعرب بعد الهجرة is haram. What does that mean? Ta'arrub is from the word A'rab, the dwellers of the desert, those who never learned anything. بعد الهجرة, being like these dwellers of the desert after immigration. Immigration here doesn't mean that I move from a country to another. Moving from a country to another is one of the examples, but it doesn't mean exactly like that. So we have to understand why these two expressions are called like this. Hijrah, immigration, means that moving from the position of ignorance to the position of knowledge. And we understand that from the action of the Muslims at the time of the Prophet. When they were in Mecca, they weren't able to do their worships and their rituals in front of the people. They were belittled. So they immigrated, they migrated from Mecca to Al-Madinah, where they were able to perform their religion publicly. This is why it's called hijrah, immigration, from moving from the position of ignorance to the position of knowledge. Ta'arrub, Arabiation, it's the opposite. Moving from the position of ignorance to the position, moving from the position of knowledge to the position of ignorance. It means I hold the morals of the dwellers of the desert. And how when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about A'rab in the Quran, for example, He says, Al-A'rabu أشد كفرا ونفاقا وأجدر ألا يعلموا حدود ما أنزل الله على رسوله. The deviation and then their hypocrisy are greater. أشد كفرا ونفاقا. So when a person moves from the position where his religion was good to a position where his religion becomes less, this is forbidden. This is not permissible. And that's how we understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the religion is important in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This ta'arrub is not only haram, it's of the kaba'ir. In the narration from Ubayd ibn Zurara, he said, I visited Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. I asked him, what are the kaba'ir? What are the big sins? He said, it's mentioned in the book of Ali ibn Abi Talib. The book of Ali is part of its files of Ali ibn Abi Talib that the Imams, they inherited from him. It goes from an Imam to another. He said, Al-Kufru Billah, disbelieving in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second one, قتل النفس المحترمة, killing the pure self. وعقوق الوالدين, disobeying the parents. Disobeying your parents, being disrespectful to your parents. This is very important. Allah Allah fi abaikum. Allah Allah fi ummahatikum. Imagine that this is equal to disbelieving in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's a problem that we have to fix in our community. We see that the kids, they don't listen to their parents. Just because their friends at school, they think that they are free. So they want to do the same and they forget about their parents. They disrespect the parents. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put their disrespecting the parents equal to disbelieving in Him. أكل الربا, eating riba. أكل مال اليتيم, taking the money of the orphans by force. الفرار من الزحف, fleeing from the war. التعرب بعد الهجرة, what we mentioned now. And this is one of the big sins, moving from the position of knowledge to the position of ignorance. And then he asked, are these the big sins? Imam Sadiq said, yes. This shows the importance of religion. Another ruling that says that it is a must on every person who is in a place that he can't perform his religion, and this might affect his faith, might decrease his faith, his closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a must on him to move to another place that makes me closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, in a different country, where in schools, for girls, they're not allowed to wear hijab. But it's a very big school. Whoever learns in that school, apparently he comes out very smart. So the father said, what can I do in this situation? So he took off the hijab of his daughter. Allah says it's haram. You don't change your religion, you change your environment. I go to another place, to another university, to another community where I can perform better in my religion. I become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Al-Quran يقول, according to the Quran, this is not only in the narrations. The Quran says, إن الذين توفاهم الملائكة ظالمي أنفسهم قالوا فيما كنتم قالوا كنا مستضعفين في الأرض قالوا ألم تكن أرض الله واسعة فتهاجروا فيها فأولئك مأواهم جهنم وساءت مصيرا. That the angels take their lives, it's the time of their death, and they oppressed themselves. It's not that they were oppressed by the community around them. They oppressed themselves when they asked them, فيما كنتم, what was your situation in this dunya? They said, we were belittled. People used to consider us weak. قالوا ألم تكن أرض الله واسعة, that the land of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very big, very wide, that you can move to one place to another. فأولئك مأواهم جهنم, that their destiny is going to be in the hellfire. وساءت مصيرا. So the religion, the priority is for the religion. Why all this concentration on the religion? Because it's a very precious gem that a person has to protect with everything that he's got. The most precious thing that a person can have. The only precious gem that gives the person happiness in this dunya and happiness in the day of judgment is the religion. When I have money in this dunya, Money can only serve me in this dunya, and in fact, it can cause me troubles and punishment in the day of judgment. Because I will stand up for a longer time when I will be held accountable how I made that money. Where did I bring that money from? Is it in the halal way? In the haram way? Was anything doubtful about that money? How did I spend it? Did I overspend? Did I spend it on the haram, on getting haram things, haram drinks? Wal-'iyadhu billah, on drugs, wal-'iyadhu billah. I'm going to be standing up longer on the day of judgment. The only gem, precious thing that helps me and gives me happiness in the dunya and in the day of judgment is the religion. So we have to protect it. That's why the Prophet salawatullahi wasalamu alayhi, Muhammad, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, says to Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, Ya Ali, أوصيك بخصال في نفسك فاحفظها. That my will to you, my advice to you is that there are 5 characteristics in yourself, protect it. والخامسة, he says the 5th thing, بذلك مالك ودمك دون دينك. That you spend your money and you spend your soul just to protect your religion. So the money and the blood becomes cheap, becomes nothing when it comes to this religion that is the identity of each Muslim individual. How do I protect this religion? How do I stand up to it? What are the steps? What can I do? Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, they have the answers to all these questions. In the time of misconceptions, now, wherever I go at work, most of the time people say that I can't really show my religion. When a woman shakes my hand, I have to, otherwise I'd lose my job. At work, in fact, when I see the other religions, they're proud about their Eids, about their occasions, and then they invite me, come to the party, for example, and then I would be shy to show my religion. In this environment, especially in this country, how do I protect my religion? The answer, as I said, is with Ahlul Bayt salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim. Ahlul Bayt, they have 3 points that they concentrate on. The first point is concentrating and putting effort in knowing the source of the knowledge. Me at school, I have a certain impression on others. I can be a teacher to them without me knowing. A certain influence through my actions, through my words, through my behavior. The same thing would be to the other side. They might have influence on me. I can learn through what they do, what they speak. I have to know where I'm getting my knowledge from. When the Quran says, فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانِ إِلَىٰ طَعَامِهِ, the human being, the man, has to look on what he's eating. This is the literal translation. When the Imam al-Baqir is asked about this verse, he says it means طعامي, his food. It means علمه الذي يأخذه عمن يأخذه. The knowledge that he's gaining. Where is he gaining it from? That's what he has to think about. Well, that's what he has to focus on. And try to make sure that the source is pure, that the source is not poisoned. There is a beautiful narration that Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam says about this. He says, عجبت ممن يتفكر في مأكوله ولا يتفكر في معقوله. That I'm surprised by those who deeply think about their food and they don't even think about the knowledge that they gain. فيجنب بطنه ما يؤذيه. He avoids what harms his stomach and he puts in his chest what will make him perish. So, look at the comparison between these two things. So, the knowledge about religion, either it makes you live makes you succeed and be happy, or it kills you if it's poisoned. Look at the comparison between the food and the knowledge. When I go to eat food, do I eat from the sides of the road, or do I eat a clean food? Of course, this is an obvious answer. I choose the clean food. When I deal with the food, do I treat the food and judge the food through how it looks or through how it tastes? I take the food, I eat the food when I taste it, and that's when I like it, and that's when I order it again. We see people, when they want to order through Uber Eats, for example, they try to choose the best restaurant, the restaurant that has a clean kitchen, a restaurant that has a halal meat, a restaurant that has 5-star rating on, I don't know what is on the internet, Google or something. They concentrate on these stuff. But when it comes to religion, am I doing the same thing? What is my standards? Is it the fame of the food, or being mutma'in, being at ease, that when I eat here, I'm going to be at ease. That gives me tranquility. Of course, I go to the place, even if it's very small, but I feel at ease when I eat there. So there is a mistake, and we have to be aware. Al-Ba'd, some people, like not even concentrating or ignorant, they take the knowledge from a place that they don't even understand that this is a mistake. For example, I receive a message on WhatsApp, or I'm scrolling on the Facebook, then I see a certain narration that it's made up and I think it's knowledge. Or I listen to someone who's posting things that are related to Sufism, for example, and they are mentioning things about their own priests, and then I think, this is beautiful. Then I take it. I have to concentrate. Who do I take from? The second thing that Ahlul Bayt tells us about, I have to haste to close the windows of doubt. What are the windows of doubt? The first window is the satanic whispers. When the devil whispers in my ears, when he tells me to do things. And everyone knows when the shaitan is whispering. He whispers to me to commit a certain sin. He whispers to me to doubt in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What do I have to do? I have to haste in order to close it. How do I close it? Imam Rida alayhi salam says, إذا خطر لك في جبروته أو عظمته أو صفة من صفاته شيء, if you have doubt in his might, in his might, or in his attributes, anything, فقل, and say, لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله علي أمير المؤمنين. You say these words, and then he says, فإنك إذا قلت ذلك عدت إلى محض الإيمان. When you say so, you'll go back to your faith, to the original state of faith. It means remind yourself with the basics. The second window of doubt is the misconceptions. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib says, صونوا دينكم عن الشبهات. Protect your religion from misconceptions. Because shubha might destroy your religion. Misconception might destroy your religion. When you hear misconceptions, you might feel down. You might feel that you're following the wrong path. So some people might just lose hope and stay away from religion. In fact, you have to protect it. Sometimes I go to the misconception with my feet. I open the YouTube channel of a certain scholar that I know that he always throws misconceptions. He's a person who's a doubtful person, always teaches opposite to what most of the scholars. This is how I know that this is a channel of misconception. I open the TV, I go to a Facebook page of a scholar that always throws misconceptions. I have to leave that. Close the window. And sometimes the misconception comes to me on WhatsApp. as I said before. I receive a certain narration and someone says, for example, Ahlul Bayt said that taqleed is haram. You can't do taqleed. Taqleed nowadays is forbidden. How can everyone doing taqleed to the Maraja and Ahlul Bayt says that it's haram? This is a very big topic that can be left to another day. But Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman Ajjallahu ta'ala farjahu sharif, he taught us about taqleed. He taught us to go back to the scholars. It's something that's logical. The taqleed that's in the narration that it's forbidden to do is taqleed in your beliefs, in usul al-deen, in the aqidah. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he gives you a solution when something like this happens, when there is a misconception. He says that the things when it comes to knowledge is three. أمر بين رشده فاتبعه. Something that it's obvious that it's right, follow it. أمر بين غيه فاجتنبه. Something that's obvious that it's wrong and deviated, just avoid it. And something that you have doubt about it. You don't know what to do. You don't know whether it's right or wrong. And it caused confusion for you. فَرُدَّهُ إِلَىٰ عَالِمِهِ. Take it back to the scholar. Some people would say, well, scholars nowadays, they are at home, close the doors on themselves. If this scholar is not performing his role, is not doing his role, it doesn't give me an excuse not to do my role as a Muslim. I have to build a bridge between me and the scholar, whether by visiting him, and now there is no excuse when there is social media, and most of the scholars, they have Facebook pages where I can direct message to them. There is no excuse. So build this bridge between you and the scholar. The third window is the people, the doubtful people, and gathering with the doubtful people. And this is mentioned a lot in the narrations of Ahlul Bayt salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Some people, they just like to be doubtful about everything. And most of us, we know a lot of people like this. They like not for the sake of learning, just for the sake of doubting. So the too doubtful, you have to avoid these people, not to gather with them. And this is the importance of picking and choosing the friend that I sit with. The friend that reminds me with God, this is the person that I sit with. A doubtful person, that whenever I sit with him, I start to doubt my religion. This is a person that I have to avoid sitting with him. Close this window in order to protect this gem, the divine gem, which is the most precious gem that I mentioned. In the time of the misconception, during these times, it's very important to protect this precious thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us. As a father to a son, how does a father protect his son? That's how I protect this religion. This religion is what you take in order to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after this short life, no matter how long you lived. This is what you take in order to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's mentioned through the narrations that the companions of Ahlul Bayt used to be wary about this. Sayyid Abdul Azim al-Hassani, he went to Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. He visited him just for the sake of checking whether his faith is right or wrong. He said, oh my master, I came here to offer my religion to you. I want to show you, I want you to tell me whether my beliefs are right or wrong. And then he said, he started to say, Ashhadu anna Allah wahid, laysa kamithlihi shay, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one, and there is nothing like him. وَأَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ, and the Prophet Muhammad is his worshipper and his messenger, خَاتَمُ النَّبِيِّينَ, and there is no prophet after him. إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ وَأَقُولُ, and I say that the Imam and the successor to the Prophet is Ali ibn Abi Talib, then Al-Hasan, then Al-Husayn, till Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman. He said till you, because Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman wasn't born yet. ثُمَّ أَنْتَ, وقال, he said then you, I believe that you are the successor. Then the Imam al-Hadi said, وَبَعْدِي ibni al-Hasan, after me is my son al-Hasan, And then he said, فَكَيْفَ بِكُمْ فِي الْخَلَفِ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ. What would be your situation in his son, my grandson, Al-Imam Al-Hujjah Ajjallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Then Sayyid Abdul Azim asked, he said, why are you saying this? He said, because he's not seen till he will reappear and he will fill the earth with justice after it was filled with injustice and tyranny. So, قلت إن وليهم ولي الله. Then I said, Sayyid Abdul Azim Al-Hasani said, that whoever follows them is a follower of Allah, and whoever is their enemy, he's the enemy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and obeying them is obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he continued, وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ الْمِعْرَاجَ حَقٌّ وَالْمُسَاءَلَ حَقٌّ, about the day of judgment. Then Imam Al-Hadi said, هَذَا دِينُ اللَّهِ الَّذِي ارْتَضَاهُ لِعِبَادِهِ فَاثْبُتْ عَلَيْهِ ثَبَّتَكَ اللَّهُ. This is the religion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is satisfied with. Stay firm on it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep you firm on it. And that's how they used to protect this gem. That was the cause and the purpose of the sacrifice of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam when he left Medina. And then when he was about to leave, he went to the grave of Rasulullah, to the shrine of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, and he sat there, prayed and supplicated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala till the morning. He went back home and then he came back again the second day to the shrine of Rasulullah. He prayed and then he spoke to the Prophet. He sat on the grave. He said, "O grandfather, I am Al-Hussein, the son of Fatima alayhi salam. Your branch and the son of your branch and your sibt, the person that you left to guide your nation. Bear witness, O Rasulullah, upon them and see what they are doing to me. They let me down. They didn't know my right. And this is my complaint to you, O grandfather, till I meet you." Then he cried and cried and wept till he fell asleep. When he fell asleep, he saw his grandfather Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi in his dream. He ran to him and he hugged him. Rasulullah said, "Bunay Hussein, كأني بك عن قريب." As if I can see you in front of me soon, decapitated in the land of Karbala between a group of people who claims to be of my nation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not grant them my intercession. And you are thirsty and no water is given to you, O Hussein. Bunay Hussein, your mother, your father, your brother Al-Hassan, they came to me and they said that they miss you and they are waiting for you. Imam Hussein alayhi salam started to look at the Prophet and he said, "O Prophet, O grandfather, take me to you, the grave of yours. There is no need for me to go back to this dunya. Take me to you. I don't want to go back to this dunya between these people." Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi said, "O Hussein, there is no way that you can get that status that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has preserved for you unless you will taste martyrdom. ضمني عندك يا جدّا في هذا الضريح علني يا جد من بلوى زماني أستريح ضاق بي يا جد من فرط الأسى رحب الفضاء كله فسيح فعسى طود الأسى يندك بين الدكتين جد صفو العيش من بعدك في الأكدار شيب وأشاب الهم راسي قبل إبان المشيب فعلى من داخل القبر بكاء ونحيب ونداء بافتجاع يا حبيبي يا حسين. Imam al-Hussein says, "Oh grandfather, take me with you to that grave of yours. By that I will be at ease from this dunya. Oh grandfather, after you there is no meaning to this life. There is no value to this life." When he was in that situation, he heard a voice from the grave. "Ya Habibi, Ya Hussein, ستذوق الموت ظلما ضاميا في كربلاء وستبقى في ثراها ثاويا منجدلا وكأني بليم الأصل شمر قد علا صدرك الطاهرة يحز الودجان." That you will taste death, O Hussein, soon in Karbala, and you will stay 3 days on the hot sands of Karbala till Shimr will come and will step on your chest, O Hussein, Ya Hussein. You won't take that status that Allah has preserved for you until you see Ali al-Akbar, your son, slaughtered into pieces, till you see your brother Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas without hands and the arrow in his eye, till you see your baby Abdullah al-Radi' between your hands and the arrow in his neck. Al-Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam woke up, went back to his house, gathered the family, and was about to leave. Ali al-Akbar with him, Al-Abbas with him, the baby with him, the women with him. When they were about to leave, he heard a voice from his back. He looked, it was Fatima al-Alila, his daughter. She was sick. They didn't take her with them because she can't bear the tiredness of the travel. Al-Imam al-Hussein went back to her. She said, "Oh father, take me with you. Don't leave me alone." He said, "Oh Fatima, you can't take the tiredness of the travel. You won't survive in this trip. When we arrive, if it's safe, I will send Ali al-Akbar to bring you to us." She said, "Oh father, if you won't take me with you, then leave Abdullah al-Radi', the baby, with me." He said, "Oh daughter, you're too weak to look after him." They left to Karbala, left Fatima al-Alila behind. Days passed. Fatima al-Alila every day stands up in front of the door of her house, waiting for her family to come back. When one day she was at that situation, a passerby came. He's a traveler. She said, "Oh traveler, can you take this message to my father Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam in Karbala?" That messenger arrived on the 10th day of Muhrram. Al-Imam al-Hussein was in front of the tent saying, "هل من ناصر ينصرني هل من ذاب يذب عني." The man came and handed the message to Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. Al-Imam al-Hussein opened that message and he read it and he started to cry. He called Zainab, "Oh Kulthum, oh Sukaina, oh Rabab, come see, I received a message from Fatima al-Alila." They asked him, "Oh Hussein, what's in that message?" He said, She's sending her salutations to her uncle Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, and she doesn't know that he's lying down on the ground with no arms, an arrow on his right eye and the blood on his left eye. She's asking about Ali al-Akbar. She doesn't know that he's cut into pieces. يصير النوب دهري بيكم يعود، ورد نشيل راسي بيكم ردود، وترد كفوف ابو فاضل للزنود، تتلايم ردود جروح الاكبار. فاطمة عليه السلام العليلة, she stayed at home till her auntie Sayyidah Zainab came back from being held captive. Al-Aqila Zainab knocked at the door. Fatima came up. She opened the door. Her auntie Zainab on the door. She's wearing black. Fatima said, "Oh auntie, where is my father Al-Hussein?" She said, "Amma عظم الله لك الأجر بأبيك الحسين." We left him on the sands of Karbala, headless. Fatima cried, وابتا وحسينا جاني الخبر بحسين مذبوح، ودمه على التربان مسفوح، لنوحا وقضي العمر بالنوح، وعم عيوني واتلف الروح، انا لقعد على درب الضعون، وناشد اللي يرحون ويجون كل من الى غياب يلفون، وانا غايبي باللحيد مدفون. أترى يعود لنا الزمان بقربكم؟ هيهات ما للقرب من ميعادي. يا الله إلهنا, in the name of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein and Fatima al-Alila, hasten the appearance of Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman. Fulfill his needs, grant us to be of his supporters, the tawfiq to be of his supporters وأعوانه إن شاء الله. اللهم بفاطمة وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها فرج عنا يا الله فرجا عاجلا قريبا كلمح البصر أو هو أقرب من ذلك. اللهم كل وليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا، حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين، ولتعجيل الفرج ولاستجابة الدعاء وقبول الأعمال وشفاء المرضى، ولأرواح أموات المؤمنين والمؤمنات العلماء وخدمة الحسين. نهدي الجميع ثواب ما قرأنا وثواب المباركة الفاتحة مسبوقة بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.